Welcome to the Heartbreak Chronicles, where every story is a raw reflection of life. Hit that subscribe button to stay tuned, give us a like to show your support, and share this episode with your friends. Don't forget to leave a comment and let us know what you think. Now, let's dive into today's story. My name is James and I am a successful landscape architect. When I married my wife, Olivia, 20 years ago, we were just two young, carefree people. At that time, we were full of hope for the future and confidence in love. Shortly after our wedding, Olivia became pregnant and our first daughter, Lucy, came into the world. Looking back, it was such a good time. We are young, enthusiastic, and full of energy. Although life is not rich, we believe that as long as we love each other, we can overcome all difficulties. We saved money to create the best possible living environment for Lucy. A few years later, we welcomed our second daughter, Emma, and our little family was finally complete. Over time, my landscaping business has grown into a multi-million-dollar company. We moved into a bigger house and our standard of living improved. I love Olivia and my two daughters dearly and work hard to give them the best life possible. In my opinion, we have a very happy marriage. However, just last night, my world came crashing down. It was a normal Thursday night, and I had just returned home tired from a long day at work. Olivia is sitting on the couch in the living room, looking serious. I thought she was just having a little trouble, so I went over to her and tried to give her a hug. But she avoided me, which made me feel a little uneasy. "James, we need to talk." Olivia's voice trembled a little. I sat down across from her, and a sudden feeling of foreboding came over me. "What's the matter, dear? What's the matter?" Olivia took a deep breath, then said the words that sent me through the ice. "I have a date with a coworker from work tomorrow night." I froze, thinking I'd heard wrong. "What? What did you say?" "You heard right, James. I have a date with a coworker. His name is Nathan, and he's in accounting." Olivia's tone was surprisingly calm, as if she were discussing tomorrow's weather. I felt a wave of vertigo and couldn't believe my ears. "Wait, Olivia, are you kidding me? We've been married for 20 years. How can you?" "I know it sounds crazy, James, but I've been feeling depressed since Lucy and Emma went off to college, and Nathan's been supportive and helped me through it. I've developed feelings for him that I feel I need to explore." My mind went blank, unable to comprehend Olivia's words. "You mean you've been in touch, and you never told me?" Olivia lowered her head, avoiding my gaze. "I'm sorry, James. I'm so sorry. James, I know I should have told you, but I was afraid you'd be angry. Nathan really understands me, and he's given me a lot of emotional support." I felt a strong sense of betrayal. "So you've been cheating on me? Seeking emotional support outside of our marriage?" "It wasn't cheating, James. I didn't know how to tell you. I know it sounds selfish, but I need to do something for myself. Just this once, give me the chance, okay?" Olivia pleaded. I stood up, unable to continue this conversation. I needed time to digest the news. "Olivia, do you realize what you're saying? You're going to destroy our 20-year marriage just to date a coworker." "James, don't say that. It's just a date. We're still a couple. I just need to explore my feelings." I shook my head, feeling a sharp pang of disappointment and anger. "No, Olivia. No, Olivia. Once you walk out that door and date another man, our marriage is over. You can't have it both ways." Olivia's eyes flashed with hesitation, but quickly became determined again. "James, I understand how you feel, but this is important to me. I want you to understand." I was speechless and felt a deep exhaustion. Without another word, I turned around and went upstairs to pack a few days' worth of clothes and toiletries. When I dragged my suitcase downstairs, Olivia was still sitting on the couch with tears in her eyes. "James, where are you going?" "I need time to think, Olivia, and since you've decided to date another man, I need some space too." My voice was cold and unfamiliar. "Come on, James. We can talk, don't go." Olivia stood up, trying to hold me back. "But I've made up my mind." "Bye, Olivia. Have a nice date." With that, I dragged my suitcase out of the house and didn't look back. I know that if I look back into Olivia's eyes right now, I might just go soft. But I can't do that. I need to protect my honor. I drove downtown to the Ritz-Carlton. Yes, the Ritz-Carlton. If I'm going to suffer like this, then at least do it in comfort. $1,000 a night for a room? I don't give a shit. At the moment, all I want to do is run away from that home, filled with 20 years of memories. In my hotel room, I lay on the soft bed and stared at the ceiling. The cell phone kept vibrating with calls and texts from Olivia, but I ignored it and just sent her a text telling her that I wouldn't contact her until Saturday. Lying in the dark, I thought back over the past 20 years. Our first date, her surprised face when I proposed to her, our wedding, the birth of our 2 daughters. These wonderful memories are so bitter at the moment. I don't understand. What's wrong with our marriage? I always thought we were happy, but now it seems I'm probably the only one who's in a happy fantasy. The next morning, I forced myself to get up and go to the office to take care of my work. But my mind was completely off, and I almost made a mistake in the meeting a couple of times. My secretary, Jenny, recognized my abnormality and asked with concern if I was all right. I just shook my head and said I was fine. At noon, I left the office early on the pretext that I had something to do. I drove to my brother Mark's police station. I needed his help. Mark is a detective with the Miami Police Department. I know he can help me. Hey, big brother. You look like shit. What happened? Mark asked with immediate concern when he saw how I looked. I briefly told him about Olivia's date with a coworker. Mark listened with a furrowed brow. Damn, I can't believe Olivia would do this. What do you need me to do for you? Mark, I need you to connect me with a private investigator. I need to know the whole story of Olivia's date tonight. Mark nodded, picked up the phone and dialed a number. Hey, Peter. It's Mark. My brother needs your help. 10 minutes later, private investigator Peter Clift agreed to the assignment. He'll follow Olivia tonight, document her entire date, and send me the personal information on that Nathan guy as soon as possible. I felt a little bit more relaxed after all these arrangements were made. Well, at least I'll know what's going on. But at the same time, my heart was full of contradictions. Do I really want to know the details of Olivia's time with another man? Won't that make me more miserable? But I knew that I had to face reality. If Olivia did betray me, I need proof to protect my interests. Even though our marriage may have come to an end, I can't afford to put myself at a disadvantage in future legal battles. Back in my hotel room, I lay on my bed, replaying in my mind the scene when Olivia said she was going out with someone else. I felt angry, I felt hurt, and more than anything, I felt deeply betrayed. 20 years of marriage. Is this how it ends? I picked up my cell phone and dialed the number of a friend I hadn't talked to in a long time. Hey Joe, it's James. I need your help. After I hung up with Joe, I felt an inexplicable sense of relief. Maybe it's because there's finally a plan, and it's no longer just passive waiting and suffering. Joe has been a close friend of mine for many years and is someone who has gone through a painful divorce. On the phone, he gave me some advice, including a contact for special services. I knew what it meant, but at the moment I couldn't care less about ethics. I look at my watch, it's 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Olivia's date with that Nathan guy is in a couple hours. I took a deep breath and dialed the number Joe had given me. Hello, this is the Sweetheart Rendezvous service. How may I help you? A sweet female voice rang out. I hesitated, but spoke up. You have a girlfriend experience service? Of course, sir. We have several types of girls to choose from. Do you have a particular preference? I thought about it and said, I need a young, pretty blonde girl, preferably one who can stay with me all night. No problem, sir. We have a girl named Candy who fits the bill perfectly. She happens to be available tonight. However, there is an additional charge for the whole night. I agreed without hesitation. Money? At the moment, I don't care. I just want Olivia to taste betrayal. After the appointment, I lay down on the bed and closed my eyes. Images of Olivia and that Nathan together kept flashing through her mind. I felt a sharp pang of jealousy and anger. But soon, these emotions were replaced by a cold determination. Just then, my cell phone vibrated. It's a text from Peter. The target has left his home in a silver Honda Accord, license plate ABC 1234. Driving a silver Honda Accord, license plate ABC 1234. My heart is racing. Olivia actually went to the appointment. Even at this moment, There is still a glimmer of hope in my heart that this is all just a misunderstanding. But now, that last hope has been dashed. I replied to Peter, "Thank you. Please keep tracking and recording all their movements. I need to know where they go and what they do." For the next few hours, I was like a wind-up robot, mechanically handling all sorts of things. I sent a message to my daughters that I might be busy for a few days and that they shouldn't worry. I emailed the company and told them I'd have to take care of some personal business tomorrow, so I wouldn't be coming to work. At 7 p.m., Peter sent another message. The target had dinner with a man at the Blue Crystal restaurant. The man was driving a black BMW 3 Series, license plate DF 5678, and is checking the owner's information. My hands shook slightly. The Blue Crystal is an upscale French restaurant where Olivia and I celebrated our anniversary. And now, she's taking another man there. The realization sent a sharp pain through my chest. At 8:30 p.m., Peter sent another message. Target left the restaurant with a man and went to the Moonlight Ballroom. Continuing to follow, I closed my eyes and tried to calm myself. Ballroom. They're going to dance. I felt a sharp pang of nausea as I imagined Olivia spinning in another man's arms. Just then, the phone in the room rang. It was the front desk that informed me that a lady named Candy was waiting for me in the lobby. I took a deep breath, straightened my clothes, and walked out of the room. Candy is much prettier than I expected. Long blonde hair, big blue eyes, and a beautiful body. Under other circumstances, I might have been nervous and excited. But at the moment, all I felt was a strange calm. We went back to the room and started talking. I briefly explained my situation, saying that I had just gone through a painful breakup. Candy understood, and she gently comforted me, saying she would make me forget all my troubles. Just then, my cell phone vibrated again. It was Peter who sent the photo. I took a deep breath and clicked on the photo. In the photo, Olivia is face dancing with a tall, handsome man. They seemed so close, as if the world around them didn't exist. I felt a strong wave of vertigo and almost fell. Candy held me up with concern. "James, are you okay?" I shook my head and handed her my cell phone. Candy looked at the picture and sighed softly. "Oh, honey, I'm so sorry." I felt tears welling up in my eyes, but I held them back. "No, I can't break down at this point. I have things to do." I turned to Candy, my voice shaking a little. Candy, can you do me a favor?" Candy looked at me gently. "Sure, honey. Go ahead." I took a deep breath and told my plan. I need Candy to work with me, to put on a show. I want Olivia to see me with another woman with her own eyes. I know it's childish and will probably make things worse. But at the moment, I couldn't care less. Candy listened to my plan, hesitated, then nodded. "Okay, James. If it makes you feel better, I'm willing to help you. But you have to promise me that you won't do anything drastic, okay?" I looked at her gratefully. "Thank you, Candy. I promise I won't do anything too much." Just then, Peter sent another message. Target is preparing to leave the ballroom. Do you want me to follow him? I replied, "No need. I need you to do one last thing. Send me all the information about that man. Name, address, phone number, family status, everything." Peter quickly sent the message. Nathan Thompson, 38, married with 2 children, living in a villa on the outskirts of town. A sneer played at the corner of my mouth. Looks like this Nathan is no slouch, either. I turned to Candy. "Ready? It's time for us to go." Candy nodded and took my arm. We walked out of the hotel together and got into my car. The destination was mine and Olivia's home. As I drove along, a million images flashed through my mind. My first date with Olivia, our wedding, the moment our 2 daughters were born. These memories that were once so beautiful are now so bitter. I know that after tonight, everything will be different. Our marriage, our family, could fall apart completely, but I had no choice. I need to make Olivia realize how much her behavior has hurt me. The car slowly pulled into the driveway of our house. I saw Olivia's car already parked there. I took a deep breath and turned to Candy. "Ready?" Candy held my hand tenderly. "Don't worry, James. Everything will be fine." I nodded and pushed open the door. Whatever happens next, I'm ready. Candy and I stood in front of the house and took a deep breath. I knew that what happened next would change my life forever. I took out my keys and opened the door slowly. The house is dark, so it looks like Olivia has gone upstairs to rest. I signaled Candy to follow me, and we walked gingerly up the stairs. At the bedroom door, I stopped and turned to Candy. "Ready?" I asked in a low voice. Candy nodded and gently shook my hand in support. I took a deep breath and pushed open the bedroom door. "Olivia, I'm back." I raised my voice on purpose. The figure in the bed sat up violently and turned on the bedside lamp. Olivia looked at me in shock. Then her eyes fell on Candy beside me. "James? What's going on? Who is this?" Olivia's voice was filled with shock and anger. I sneered, "Oh, this is Candy, my new friend. I figured if you could date other guys, I could use some company, right?" Olivia's face instantly turned pale. "James, let me explain." "Explain? Explain what?" I cut her off. "Explain how you betrayed our 20-year marriage? Explain how you got involved with a married man." Olivia's face turned even paler. "James, how did you know?" "I know a lot more than you think, Olivia." I pulled my cell phone out of my pocket and pulled up the pictures Peter had sent me. "You had dinner at the Blue Crystal and then went dancing at the Moonlight Ballroom. You guys had a great time, by the looks of it." I handed her my cell phone. Olivia took the phone shakily, and her face turned even paler when she saw the picture. "James, I don't know what to say." Olivia's voice was filled with remorse and fear. "There's no need to say anything, Olivia." My voice was cold. "You've made your choice. Now, it's my turn to make mine." I turned to Candy and purposely put my arm around her waist. "Let's go to the guest room, dear. We don't seem to be very welcome here." Candy leaned against me cooperatively as we turned to get ready to leave the bedroom. "Wait, James." Olivia suddenly shouted. "Please, don't do this. We can talk, okay? I know I made a terrible mistake, but please give me a chance to explain." I stopped and turned around. Olivia looked so vulnerable and desperate, and for a moment, I almost went soft. But I forced myself to think of the pictures, of how she betrayed me. "Okay, Olivia, you want to talk? We'll talk," I said coldly. "But not now. Tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock in the living room. Right now, I need to rest. It's been a long day for me." With that said, I pulled Candy out of the bedroom, leaving Olivia alone and crying. We went into the guest room and closed the door. Candy immediately let go of my hand and looked at me with concern. "James, are you okay?" I shook my head, feeling a sudden wave of exhaustion hit me. "I don't know, Candy, I really don't know." Candy patted me on the shoulder. "It's okay, James. You need time to digest all this. Get some rest tonight and face her tomorrow." I looked at Candy gratefully. "Thank you, Candy, for everything you did for me tonight." Candy smiled and said, "You're welcome, James. It's my job. But I want you to remember, no matter what happens, don't do anything you'll regret." I nodded and watched Candy leave. When the door closed, I finally broke down. I sat up in bed, tears streaming down my face uncontrollably. 20 years of marriage, and this is how it ends? The next morning, I woke up early. I took a shower, put on some clean clothes, and walked downstairs. Olivia was already waiting for me in the living room. She looked haggard and obviously hadn't slept a wink. When she saw me, there was a glimmer of hope in her eyes. "James, thank you for being willing to listen to me explain," Olivia said softly. I sat across from her, keeping my distance. "Go ahead. I'm listening." Olivia took a deep breath and began. "James, I know I made a terrible mistake, but I want you to know that nothing happened between Nathan and me. Yes, we dated, we danced, but that's all. I realize what a stupid mistake I made. So why did you do it?" I asked calmly. Olivia's eyes fill with tears. I don't know. Maybe it's because the kids are in college and the house is suddenly quiet. Maybe it's because I don't feel young anymore and I want to prove that I'm still attractive. But whatever it is, it doesn't excuse me from hurting you. I'm really sorry." I listened to her quietly, then asked, "What about Nathan? Did you know he was married with children?" Olivia looked at me in shock. "What? No, I don't know. He told me he was single." I sneered. "It seems your beloved object isn't that honest." I took out my cell phone and pulled up the message Peter had sent me. Nathan Thompson, 38, married, 2 kids. Lives in a villa on the outskirts of town. His wife is Stella, a housewife. Olivia's face turns pale as she hears this. I didn't know. God, I can't believe it. Believe it, Olivia. I said, this is what happens when you betray our marriage. Not only did you hurt me, but you may have destroyed another family. Olivia broke down and cried, James, I'm really sorry. I didn't know things would turn out this way. Please, give me a chance. Can we start over? I look at Olivia, and I'm conflicted. On the one hand, I still love her. You can't just let go of a 20-year relationship. But on the other hand, her betrayal hurt me deeply. I don't know if I can trust her again. Olivia, I said slowly, I don't know if we have a future. Your behavior has hurt me and our marriage. I need time to think, to decide if I can forgive you, if I can trust you again. Olivia nodded, tears still streaming down her face. I understand, James. I'll give you time. But please believe that I love you. I'll do anything to regain your trust. I stood up. I need some time alone. I'm going to move into the guest house for a while. In the meantime, I want you to think about what you really want. With that said, I turned and walked to the guest room, leaving Olivia alone in the living room, crying. For the next few days, Olivia and I lived under the same roof as 2 strangers. We went to work separately, and when we got home, we didn't talk much. But I could feel that Olivia was trying. She cooks my favorite dishes every day and asks me about my work. I know she's trying to save our marriage. At the same time, I've been thinking a lot about our future. I love Olivia, there's no doubt about it. But once trust is lost, it is difficult to rebuild. I don't know if I'll ever be able to forgive her for her betrayal, if I'll ever be able to forget those pictures of her and Nathan being close. Just as I was hesitating, an unexpected phone call put a new spin on things. That unexpected call came from Olivia's sister Sarah. I wanted to hang up, but I answered out of courtesy. James, I heard about what happened between you and Olivia. Sarah's voice was filled with concern. She's here with me now and in a terrible state. I think you guys need to talk. I sighed. Sarah, I understand your good intentions, but this is between me and Olivia. I know, James, Sarah said softly, but as a bystander, I can probably see things a little more clearly. Olivia made a terrible mistake, there's no doubt about that. But I also see how much she regrets it and how much she wants to save your marriage. I was silent for a moment, then asked, how much did she tell you? She told me everything, Sarah replied, including the fact that she was dating that Nathan and that Candy girl you brought home. James, I'm not excusing Olivia, but I think you both need to calm down and think about this. I laughed bitterly. Thinking about what? About how our 20-year marriage collapsed overnight? Sarah's voice became softer. Think about whether or not you still love each other. Whether or not you're willing to give this marriage another shot. James, I know you. I know you're a good person. I know you're a good person. You love Olivia. I've never doubted that. But love requires tolerance and forgiveness. I felt a wave of exhaustion hit me. Sarah, I don't know if I can trust her anymore. Trust can be rebuilt, James, Sarah said, but it takes time and effort. You might consider seeing a marriage counselor. Give each other a chance, okay? After hanging up, I sat down on the couch and let out a long sigh. Sarah's words echoed in my head. Am I really ready to give up on this marriage? Just then, I heard the doorbell ring. Opening the door, I saw Olivia standing there, her eyes red and swollen, obviously having just cried. James, she whispered, can we talk? I stepped aside to let her in. We were sitting face to face in the living room, and the atmosphere was a little awkward. Olivia took a deep breath and began to speak. James, I know I hurt you. I hurt our marriage. I can't tell you how much I regret it, but I want you to know that I love you. You've been the most important person in my life for 20 years. I looked at her with mixed feelings. Then why did you do it, Olivia? Why did you date another man? Olivia's tears flowed again. I don't know. Maybe it's because the kids are in college and I suddenly feel empty and lost. Maybe it's because I want to prove to myself that I'm still attractive. But none of that is an excuse. I've made a terrible mistake, and I'd give anything to make it right. I was silent for a while, then I said, Olivia, you know what? When I saw that picture of you and Nathan together, I felt like my world had collapsed. 20 years of love, and you just threw it away. Olivia cried harder. I'm sorry, James, that I'm really sorry. I know that apologizing may not make up for my mistakes, but I hope you can give me a chance. Let's work together and rebuild our marriage. I looked at Olivia and felt a sudden wave of exhaustion. Olivia, I don't know if I can trust you anymore. Once trust is lost, it's hard to rebuild. Olivia nodded, determination in her eyes. I understand, James, but I'm willing to do whatever it takes to rebuild your trust in me. We can go to a marriage counselor. I can give you access to my cell phone and email. If you're willing to give me a chance, I won't let you down. I looked deep into her eyes, trying to find any trace of deception, but all I see is sincerity and remorse. Well, I finally said, we could try marriage counseling, but that doesn't mean I've forgiven you. We still have a long way to go. Olivia gave a smile through her tears. Thank you, James. I promise, I will try to regain your trust and love. And so began the long and difficult road to reconciliation. We see Dr. Madison, an experienced marriage counselor, twice a week. There, we had to look back on that painful experience again and again, analyze our feelings, and explore the problems in our marriage. The process is not easy. Sometimes, I feel anger and pain coming back to me. I'll think about the pictures, about the fact that Olivia betrayed me. But every now and then, I remind myself that we're trying to rebuild our relationship. Olivia is working on it too. She voluntarily deleted all contact with Nathan and even quit her job to avoid any contact with him. She let me check her cell phone and email at all times in an effort to rebuild my trust in her. Slowly, I began to feel that things were getting better between us. We started to be able to laugh together and plan our future together. Although the pain is still there, it is no longer as sharp and unbearable as it was at first. 3 months later, at the end of a counseling session, Dr. Madison said to us, James, Olivia, I can see that you have made great efforts during this time. Your communication has become more open and honest, and you have learned how to better understand and support each other. But most of all, I see that you're both willing to put in the work for this marriage. That's a great start. Olivia and I smiled at each other when we heard those words. Yes, we have a long way to go. It takes time to rebuild trust, and it takes time to heal wounds. But at least we're on the right track. That night, as we lay in bed together, Olivia gently took my hand. James, thank you for giving us this opportunity. I promise, I'll spend the rest of my life proving that you made the right decision. I looked into her eyes and saw the tenderness and sincerity that had made me fall in love with her. I gently squeezed her hand. We'll work together, okay? Olivia nodded, tears in her eyes, together. And so, we began a new journey. It may be a long road. It may have twists and turns, but we've decided to face it together. Because that's what marriage is all about. Supporting each other at all times and growing together. A year has passed. Olivia and I have been through so much this year. We worked together, we cried together, we rebuilt our relationship together. In retrospect, it was both painful and beautiful. Olivia kept her promise. She lets me check her cell phone and social networking accounts whenever I want, and has even taken the initiative to install a location software so I can know all her whereabouts. At first, I thought it was a bit much, but Olivia insisted it was a necessary step to rebuild trust. James, she once told me, I know my behavior has hurt you and our marriage. I'm willing to do anything to prove my loyalty. If it will put your mind at ease, then I'm happy to do it. I must admit that this transparency has really helped me to reestablish my trust in her. Slowly, I started to stop checking her cell phone or her whereabouts. I'm starting to believe that Olivia really wants to save our marriage. Our marriage counseling continues as well. Dr. Madison has helped us learn to communicate better and understand each other's needs and feelings more deeply. We learned how to deal with our differences and how to support each other in difficult times. One day, at the end of counseling, Dr. Madison said to us, You have made tremendous progress. I see that trust and intimacy are being rebuilt between you. But remember, this is an ongoing process. You need to keep working, keep communicating, and keep valuing each other. We nodded our heads in agreement, knowing that this marriage would require constant work and maintenance on our part. Over the course of the year, I also learned more about Nathan. As I suspected, he's a pure deceiver. His wife, Stella, eventually opted for a divorce. I have to say, I felt a strange sense of relief when I heard the news. It proved that Olivia was just one of his many victims, not some special being. Olivia feels both guilty and scared about it. I can't believe I almost ruined our marriage for someone like that. She cried to me and said, "James, I'm so sorry. I promise I'll never let anyone come into our lives again." As I watched Olivia's remorseful face, the last vestige of resentment in my heart dissipated. I hugged her and whispered, "That's all in the past, Olivia. All that matters is that we're together now and appreciate each other more than ever." As time went on, our relationship got back on track. That familiar sense of intimacy and comfort was back, but now there was an added sense of appreciation and gratitude. We started enjoying each other's company again, watching movies together, taking walks, and even restarted our weekend cooking classes. But most importantly, we learned to listen to each other better and understand each other's needs. Olivia began to express her feelings more often instead of keeping everything bottled up inside. I have also learned to pay more attention to her emotional changes and give her the support and love she needs. One night, we were sitting on the swing set in the backyard, looking at the starry sky. Olivia leaned over my shoulder and whispered, "James, thank you for not giving up on our marriage. I know I made a terrible mistake, but you gave me the chance to make it right. I love you more than ever." I wrapped my arms around her and kissed her forehead. "I love you too, Olivia, and after all we've been through together, I'm sure our love is stronger now than ever." Just then, our cell phones rang at the same time. It's a message from our oldest daughter, Lucy, saying she's coming home next weekend and bringing her new boyfriend to meet us. We smiled at each other and saw joy and anticipation in each other's eyes. Yeah, life goes on and our family is still growing. I look back on all that has happened this year with a sense of both relief and gratitude. Yes, we've been through a terrible storm, but we got through it, and we got stronger. I know that whatever challenges await us in the future, Olivia and I will face them together. That night, as we lay in bed, Olivia suddenly turned to me and looked at me earnestly. "James, I think we should review our vows. Will you be my husband again?" I looked into her eyes, which shone with a love and determination I knew well. I smiled and replied, "I do." With that, we decided to renew our marriage vows on our anniversary the following year. This is not only a redemption of the past, but also a promise for the future. Our marriage has been tested, and now it's stronger than ever. Life isn't always perfect. We'll still have arguments, we'll have disagreements, but we learned how to deal with them better. As for Nathan, we later heard that he moved to another city and started a new life. I sincerely hope he learns from his past mistakes and becomes a better person. After all, everyone deserves a chance to start over. Now, when I look at Olivia, I no longer think of that painful experience. All I see is a beautiful, strong woman, my life partner, my eternal love. I know that whatever awaits us in the future, we will face it together and overcome it together. Because that's what marriage is all about: supporting each other at all times, growing together, and never giving up. Thank you for taking the time to listen to today's story. If you enjoyed it, please like and subscribe if you haven't already. If you have a story to share about your own or someone else's experience, please feel free to contact me. Take care.